terrible.
Good morning and welcome to a live edition of OmenG's Stupid Scary Stories. It's been a minute since I've done a stupid scary story. I've done some ghost stories from the world, but not a stupid scary story. So I figured, hey, why not tell you guys a stupid scary story? Now, normally I would tell them on my friend Purgatory, but I don't feel like telling it on Purgatory right now. I gotta get used to the Chaos Maker. So, I'm gonna try my best. Now, I remember the last time I spoke to all of you about anything of reverence. It was about the Human Project. Human Project, you say? Yes, the Human Project. You guys remember I told you about the alien shit. You know, they were following me around and getting on my nerves and stuff. There's a lot of different things been going on since then. More along the lines of realistic, not science fiction. I know what you're thinking, right? Like, what kind of fucking realistic shit is this guy dealing with? Because there's never anything realistic that this guy is dealing with. It's always some fucking wild ass shit. And you're right, that's exactly what happened. It was wild ass shit. Happened at work. And I'm gonna tell you what it was. And it's led to a bunch of circumstances that I'm dealing with right now. And I'll get into that too. But let me just start off the day with, you know, how it all happened, right? It's Friday, everybody's happy, going to work early. Yay! You know what I'm saying? Because that means getting out early, probably getting out this same day we're going in, which is unusual because, you know, we're going in one day, we get out the next. It's the shift we work, right? I'm not going to get too in depth on what we do, but, you know, cheese is the business. That's all you need to know. Now, here we are doing what we do on Friday, right? Which is cleaning stuff. You know, cleaning stuff. Hoses everywhere. Water, hot, steam, scalding. Pressure high. I mean, the type of pressure that you literally blow hard cheese off of things with without having to scrape. Do you understand that kind of pressure? The force necessary to do that? Okay, so you get how pressure. Anyway, so I'm doing what I do, right? I'm in my head. Bam. Loving it in there on a Friday because I don't have to think about shit except for blasting things with hot ass steam and high pressure water for hours. And I love that. You know, I get a dirty piece of equipment and it's clean when I'm done with it. Shiny! Like, hey, look at me. But I digress. Let me get back to what I'm trying to tell you what's going on. I'm blasting the fucking shit out of all this equipment. Right? I'm in my head thinking about all these people that get on my fucking nerves, which is most of them, right? You know, pretty much all the people that I work with get on my fucking nerves. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The point is, there's one in particular that really gets on my nerves. And he's not saying I'm in my head though, you know. So in my head, he's doing things that I don't like, and I have the tools at my disposal to do things that he won't like, right? And in my head, so I thought, I turned the hose on, right? When he came over to say something to me, I just shot him in the face with it. His eyeball flies out, hits the wall, right by the girl's head. She starts screaming because it looks over at her when it hits the wall because somehow it still had like a little bit of life left in it. And its last moments of life, it looked at her like, oh, and then it fell on the floor and it got squished by somebody driving a forklift by to go do some shit. Squished, right? Anyway though, back to the guy's face now, which half of it is melted. He's screaming, oh God, oh! And I didn't want to hear that, so I shot him in the fucking mouth, right? And you know, he's and it's boiling the inside of his fucking head. And eventually he just shuts the fuck up. I go back doing what I'm doing. You know, everybody's looking at me. They're shocked. They are fucking shocked. They're like, I can't believe this guy just blew his fucking eyeball out of his fucking head and burnt his face and then shot water in his mouth and then went back to working as if that's okay. Now, of course, in my head, I can hear these people talking shit, and it's making me even more mad because I'm like, yeah, I just did that. God damn it. And I want to finish doing what I'm doing, but now you guys are fucking talking about it, right? You're talking about it like it's a fucking problem. What's the fucking problem, I say out loud? And they're all looking at me now because up to this point, I haven't said a fucking word. Haven't said shit. Now, I'm thinking I'm in my head, right? I don't think that I really, shot this guy's eyeball out and fucking drowned him with hot, steaming, high-pressure water. No. I'm just thinking this in my head. But I can see the looks on these people's faces now that I've screamed, what the fuck you all looking at and shit, that this is probably not one of those times when I was in my head. Fully, right? Like, completely. Like, part of me was in there. And part of me was actually still controlling me. And that part of me that was controlling me was the part of me that was in my head and not the part of me that shouldn't have been in. You know what I'm saying? Don't get confused. We don't need to do that. Let's just get on to what happened next, which was a massacre. It was terrible, right? Because, I didn't like the way they were looking at it. It made me nervous. It made me nervous as hell. Because I'm looking at the guy. He's not moving at all. Don't see his chest going up and down. So I'm assuming he's probably dead. You can't just kill people. And I'm trying to think of myself, can I make it seem like it was an accident? But then looking at their faces, probably not. Probably not. So I did the only thing that I could think to do, right? And that was to start spraying them with the hot-ass, high-pressure water. Now, the first person I shot, I caught him smack in the chest. They just so happened to be standing in front of a piece of equipment that had a kind of for holding things, and it's got these two long spikes. Sort of like the things you see when you go into a store and you get stuff off the shelf. It's like those, except bigger for holding heavier things. And it's got a nice little point on it. Not super sharp, but sharp enough to pierce through soft, fleshy bodies. And that's what happened when I hit him with the hose. He's like, I fell backwards, went right through him. He's impaled on it now. He's shaking. I'm shooting him, because. Why not? At this point, I might as well. And I'm just spraying him in the face, trying to shut him up, screaming, I don't want to hear it. I don't. And now the other two people are starting, ah! Now it's loud in this place. It's loud. So they, in other parts of the building, can't hear what the hell's going on in this part of the building. They hear water hoses, people screaming and making noise. They probably figure, hey, they're doing what they usually do back there, which is goofing the fuck off. Fuck them. I was glad that that's what they thought, because I was having a blast at this point. After the second guy, the other two were just fun. You know, they're running, trying to anyway. Shoot them in the back of their legs. They slide backwards, right? So they smack the backs of their heads on this hard-ass concrete ground. Slide a little bit, just a little bit. One of them hits the pole that's on the ground to stop the forklifts from hitting shit. The other one slides right up under the tank. Now, the tank. Ooh, you don't want to be up under that thing. Especially with a guy like me running around fucking shooting you with hot-ass water. Why do you not want to be under the tank? Because it's filled with water hotter than the water that's in my hose. How hot is the water in my hose, you ask? A little under 200 degrees Fahrenheit. You know, 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Just under that, just a smidge. Now, it could have been over because I did turn it up full blast. And I stopped looking at the gauge when it got to about 180. And that gauge goes up pretty quickly when you have the steam turned on to full blast. With the high pressure, you know, feeds it in there real good. And then you got the steam on top of it, so you got to figure that's extra pressure. The steam wants to go where it wants to go. The air definitely wants to go where it wants to go. And the water's like, you're not going anywhere unless I go first. So think about it. High pressure steam hose. Now the tank, much worse. Because it's combined with chemicals. What kind of chemicals, you say? Well, the kind of chemicals that burn stuff off of metal. Yes, that's right, folks. Off of metal. Therefore, it's probably considered acid. What? Acid? I didn't say acid. You did say acid. Shut your fucking yap. It's acid. That's what it is. In fucking water that's almost 300 degrees. And he's under it now. What's that supposed to mean? Because he's under it. That means I'm going to open up the drain, which is what I did, and dump all that shit right on top of him. And that's exactly what I did. And the drain just so happened to be right over his face. So all this water is just coming down. You don't see his face. You don't see anything. You don't see his face or his head. You just see all this water and him arms shaking and shit, kicking his legs, ah, and you don't hear anything, and then eventually the legs and arms and just stop moving. And once the water finishes, you notice there's no head left, nothing, just his head, neck spot, blood oozing out of it and shit. I'm laughing my ass off because it's hilarious. Because the person that I saw slide into the pole over there, not the one under the tank, but the pole, she's looking over at what I just did, and she's in shock, as she should be, because she knows that whatever's going to happen to her is going to probably be progressively worse than what happened to the first two people, because that's how it is. I have to find the most gruesome way to get you now, because I'm in full swing. So I get to thinking, right? One of the pieces of machinery I cleaned is the pneumatic cheese slicer. I've always wanted to see what that looks like in action on human flesh. I've seen it on cheese. I want to see it on flesh. Because, you know, cheese is hard. I see it kind of struggling with the cheese. Little cubes pop out on the other side. But with human flesh, it's just squish right through, right? So she's looking at me look at the machine, and I know she knows what I'm thinking. And she does know what I'm thinking. But it's too late. Smack her. One of the red fucking shovels. Shut up. Shut up! Drag her ass over, right? And she's sitting there, you know, trying to struggle. But she can't really do much because she's soaking fucking wet and it's slippery and shit. So, please, Reese, what are you doing? I said, I'm having fun, goddammit, you know. If you can't have fun at work, what the fuck is the point of coming at all? Shit. Put her through the machine. It was actually quite disgusting, you know. I didn't expect it to be as messy as it was. But believe me, people, when you try to press human beings through things, they don't come out cubed like cheese because, you know, they're soft and fleshy and there's blood and guts and things. So that kind of, it didn't stay as cubes is what I'm trying to say, people. And I was disappointed because I was really looking forward to seeing little cubes of human. Come on, let's think about that. That would have been awesome, right? That would have been awesome. I could have made like a Rubik's Cube out of human cubes. It would have been a human cube. And you would have been able to turn it, and then one side would be all bloody, and then maybe one side would have skin, or one could be a butt cheek. And it would be like a whole ass if you turn it the right way. And, you know, whatever. Who cares? I don't know even where that came from. But the whole thing is, I'm having fun blasting people with this hot ass water. Now, I've killed everybody back there, right? They're all dead. Dead. Blood everywhere, water. I'm thinking, high pressure holds water. I can clean this up in a heartbeat. So I do. Clean it up. By the time the supervisor comes back there, there's nothing to be seen. I'm just back there cleaning up parts like, you know, I'm supposed to be doing. And he's wondering where the fuck everybody is. So he comes over to me and asks me as if it's my job to know where his fucking employees are. You know where everybody is? I'm like, what the fuck do I look like? So I shoot him in the fucking face real quick. Right? The shit goes through his fucking mouth, blows the back of his head out. His brain flies with it, smacks against the wall. I'm like, God damn it. I just fucking cleaned up all of this mess. And now I have to fucking do it all over. So I'm mad at this point. So I go outside and I start puffing on my vape and shit, right? Somebody comes out and they're asking me, like, have you seen so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so? It's like, what is it with all you people asking me if I've seen people? Like, are you trying to imply that I know what's happening with these fucking people? Because I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You know? I don't know where they are. God damn it. You go look around inside for them. Right now, I'm getting a little nervous. Because now people are looking for the people that, you know, I've done away with. And I can't have that. And I can't go around killing everybody in the building. At least that's not what I wanted to do. I didn't want to kill everybody in the building, but that's ended up what happened. You know, we have this huge machine. It mixes powder, but it's really just a giant auger in a metal box that I can lock. And I did that several times throughout the day, and I positioned it over the drain so that when all the people were grinded up into a nice gooey paste, I just poured it right down the drain. Easy cleanup. Easy cleanup, folks. I had no problems whatsoever. And it was kind of fun for a little bit. Until it wasn't. You know, a lot of the bones, chips were left behind. Had to clean that. Then, of course, had to explain to the last person left where everybody fucking was and what I was doing. And what was that red shit coming out of the bottom of the machine? Too many questions that this person was asking. I didn't feel like answering, and I wasn't going to answer. So, you know what I did. You know what I did. How did I do it? You don't need to know, but I did it. And, you know, down the drain he went. So now I've cleaned up the whole entire building by myself, which has taken me quite some time. Because I want to make it look good. You know, I don't want anybody to get bad cheese. So I gotta make sure everything is clean. Especially since now I put people through some of the machines that then, you know, bodily fluids are not supposed to touch any of this equipment. So I had to make sure it was extra, extra clean. And of course, you know, any of the nicks, scratches, and dents and gouges that were left behind in the equipment from the bones going through it, I had to make sure were fixed, properly sanded down, smoothed out so that you didn't get metal shavings into this fucking food, you know, because God forbid you're eating a piece of pizza somewhere, right? And you're enjoying this pizza, and a metal shard gets stuck in your fucking gum. You're not gonna be happy about that shit at all. I wouldn't be happy about that. I'd be ready to fucking sue. So right, anyway, the whole entire shift is dead. Dead, gone. Nobody even knows where they are. Obviously, because there's no one else there but me. So I punched the fuck out. Right? And I know what you're saying. Like, how are you even gonna come back to work? I don't know. I'm trying to figure that out now, actually, because you know I do want to go back to work, obviously, because I like my job. I just didn't like the people that I was working around. I figured, you know, you got to change things, and sometimes this is the best way to change things. Is to just murder everybody. You know, in my head, that's what I was thinking, and unfortunately, I wasn't in my head when it happened. So yeah, right now, what's going on is, you know, the cops are looking for me and shit. Psychopath. Obviously, the only guy who lived has to be the guy that did all the shit that happened. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, maybe it's true. That's a friend of mine. He's letting me know the situation at hand. You're probably saying it's not scary. That's actually pretty depraved and sick, Mr. Reese. What are you talking about? And I'm just telling you, things go on sometimes. But, you know, it didn't really happen, obviously, because I'm sitting here talking to you. And if I had murdered and massacred an entire crew full of people with a high-pressure steamed water hose, well, you would have probably heard about it had I not killed the reporter that was going to tell the story about it 2 days ago. As a matter of fact, they came down. It was like, oh, you know, massacre fucking thing guy, and you know, before they had a chance to do all that stuff, I found where the reporter lived, and I went to her house. And I was like, hey, how you doing? You know, I want to give you a exclusive interview with my host. Shouted right there, and I know what you're thinking, right? How the fuck are you gonna shoot her a high pressure fucking water hose at her house? Don't worry about that, okay? I can do whatever the fuck I want in my stories because they're my stories. If you haven't figured that out by now, well, I don't know what's wrong with you people. I don't know what's wrong with you. Now, I expect those of you who follow the channel and stuff will continue to do so and like the things that you like. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and you know, if you're one of those people that has to be notified about one of your favorite channels putting down content that you love so fucking much that you just can't wait until they're putting it down, that you have to be notified, well then go ahead and hit that little, you know, bell thing there, and that bell thing is what will tell you what to do, like the AI does so often. You know, you don't even like OmenG. You don't even like No Order Without Chaos, but you're watching it right now because the algorithm has told you that this is your top pick because I'm so awesome. Now, of course, we know that this isn't true. In fact, I might not even be a real person. You know, I could have been planted here. You know, the real Omen could have died in New Hampshire, and this fake Omen could be what you see in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Like mental breakdowns. Do you really think that they're mental breakdowns, people? I know that they're not. I know exactly what they are. See, the aliens, right? The aliens. Back to the aliens, folks. That's right. You thought that this was over? No. It's a double feature. I have to bring this back. That was just a little quick getting my wheels turning, making sure I still got the mojo to do what I do. And I do. So I'm going to do, again, another one, continuing from the Human Project. Because this is a true story that I'm telling you, folks. The whole alien thing. It's not what you think it is. It's what I'm going to tell you. Now, when I left off last, I told you we only have so long. And you all thought that I was bullshit. You all thought that I was bullshit, right? And what's happening on Monday? What's happening Monday, folks? Huh? Fucking solar eclipse. All this speculation. It's not a solar eclipse. They want you to think it's a solar eclipse, right? Now, I'm not a scientist or an astrologer or any of those people who study suns and things of that nature, but I find it strange. Okay, and I know there's going to be somebody out there who's probably going to say, Omen, you're an asshole and you're dumb. And I'll be like, no, I'm not dumb, I just don't know that. Therefore, I'm just not an expert in that. But it would beg the reason, folks, that if something as large as the sun is to be covered, well, if you can see the sun, shouldn't you be able to see the sun being covered? Now I know what you're going to say. It probably has something to do with perspective and goddamn the way the sun is aligned with the moon. Yeah, right. Okay, good. I get it. Blah, blah, blah. But here's the thing to throw that theory out of whack. If we rotate around the sun, right, and the moon rotates around us, at which point would the earth be at any area of the sun where someone on this earth is going to see the sun while others do not see the sun? Do you get what I'm saying, folks? Does that make sense to you? Right? Right. Okay. If it doesn't, let me explain. Here's the sun, right? Sitting in one place. Here's the earth going around said sun. Now, since I don't have a third hand because I'm not an alien, imagine that this is the earth is still moving around the sun right now. We now have this moon here. We'll use a dime for size comparisons and shit. Now the moon is here, right? It's obviously going around. And at some point during the day, the earth, which is always going around the sun, is obviously going to be going around the sun. But the one thing that factors into all this, folks, and maybe I understand or don't understand the science of revolutions of planets and shit and orbital structures, but I'm going based off of, layman's terms. So here we go. Here's the moon, right? Now at some point in the day, the moon's alignment in conjunction with the earth is what's going to block the sun from view, right? It has nothing to do with the earth, where the earth is, because the earth is always rotating around the sun, the moon is always rotating around the earth. So no matter where the earth is, right, one side of the earth is not going to see the sun. And the side of the earth that sees the sun is going to see the moon covering it, right? Okay, good. That's just want to establish if that makes sense. Now, here's what's making me not understand all this shit from humans' perspective, but why I understand it from the alien liaison, sort of like tour guide for the aliens guy, that met them when the little spaceship with the miniature aliens came down. They were screaming and yelling, and I slapped the shit out of one of them and then hit the others with a big bag of cement. But let's not get into that. Let's get back to what I'm saying with the whole solar eclipse. Why you should be worried if you didn't sign your documentation saying that you want to go with the aliens. I forgot to mention that like 2 stories ago, that they actually came down with paperwork that we could sign so we don't get eradicated when they come down to take over the earth. Sorry, I should have mentioned that. But, you still have a little bit of time. They're pretty fast and can expedite most of the paperwork in time before, the Armageddon comes on Monday, April 8th. I told you all. I told you all. Now back to what I was saying about the whole thing, why you should be worried about this. Now, they're telling you there's only a particular path right? Just a particular path where you're going to see this alignment, right? Now, remember, the sun is vast, the earth is vast, and so is the goddamn moon. So why is the path at which we can see this phenomenon only so many hundreds of miles wide when the sun is bigger than the earth? And the moon is quite larger than a few hundred miles, I would imagine, in diameter, most likely, right? Yeah, okay, there we go. So basically, what they're trying to say, what I'm putting together as a jackass and an idiot who doesn't understand astrology and astrology and astronomy and all that stuff, is that we're just seeing the shadow of the moon. And because of, no, that's not what it is. So shut the fuck up, smart brain people. It's not a shadow, folks. I want you to tell you what it is, and this is what it is. The mothership, okay, the mothership is placing itself between the sun and the moon during this time period, right? And during this small window is when you better get your ass to places that you can get the fuck off this planet. That's why they're being vague about it. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't want a whole massive rush to this little belt of area, which is basically the pickup spot for the spaceships that are going to start landing on the planet, and actually letting it be known that, you know, shit's about to hit the fucking fan, and get on if you've got tickets, and if not, well, the fuck away from here before it vaporize and disintegrate you into dust on the ground where you stand, and you'll be a pile of dust with clothes on top of it, sort of like War of the Worlds, and people are just poof. Yeah, sort of like that, except not white powdery dust looking like coke and shit all over people's faces. The color of whatever color you are, just as dust. So if you're a brown person, you'll be brown dust. If you're yellow, you'll be yellow dust. If you're white, then yeah, you'll be white dust, but not white like cocaine dust, because white people aren't white like cocaine. They're more white like, I don't know what kind of white they are, but that kind of white is the dust that they would be if they became dust, right? Okay, let's just get that clear. So you'll be able to know, you know, oh, there's a black guy over there, black dust on the ground, poor black people. Anyway, who cares about what color the dust is going to be? I don't even know why you asked. Don't ask that. Who cares? It's just dust. That's what's going to happen if you don't have a ticket to get on. Now, I've got tickets. I've got tickets for me and mine. Now, I told you about this shit. You guys are all too busy trying to get me to explain what aliens and how I know all this shit. And it's like I told you, if an alien came down here and told you some shit, you'd believe it. Why? Because it's a fucking alien. And that's exactly what I did. I put my faith in the alien that I saw in front of my face telling me these things. And guess what? They've come to pass. Go back and watch the story if you don't believe what I'm telling you. I don't know what number it is, but it's the Human Project. Screen thumbnail. Read it. Listen to it, watch it, transcribe it, fucking put the goddamn captions on it, and look at the words that come out of my mouth. Because I warned you. If you didn't want to listen, everybody's sitting here thinking there's going to be a fucking 420 this month. You'll be lucky if there's a 4 fucking 9. Alright? If you're one of those people that happens to get on the airships, spaceships, whatever you call them, then you are going to be lucky. But if you're not one of those people, well, I feel sorry for you, because it's one thing to enslave others of your race. You know, there's only so far you're willing to take things, right? You know, make examples of people. But they're not of our race, people. They're not of our race. They're aliens. And we're their property in their minds. You know, even though we've been living sort of autonomously on our own for so many centuries, even thousands of years, they don't see it that way, right? You know, they've lived way longer than we did, or have, so therefore, we're kind of like infants to them. And they don't like their infants telling them that the world is theirs, because we've lived on it for thousands of years, and technically it is our world because we've lived on it for thousands of years, and where these bum-ass motherfuckers have been all this time with all your technology and shit, aliens. You could have stopped us from doing all this stuff. You could have stopped us from doing all this stuff. But, you know, they don't care about us because we're tools. I told you. And only some of them do. I told you this whole story. So don't get mad at me now, because tomorrow shit's gonna hit the fan. Now see, you probably are all, I've been asked this question by several people. Like, why did you move there? Like, why did you guys move out there? Like, of all places, there's nothing out there. No, there isn't. Except for an alien landing strip. That's why I moved out here. Told you I had tickets. I know what you're thinking, but you moved out there before you knew about the whole alien thing. How do you know that? How do you know that I didn't just tell you about the alien thing now? And I've already known. See, if I had told you that I knew this shit before I moved here, then you guys would probably think that I'm an alien. And I am part alien. Not all alien, just part alien. Not illegal, but, not from this planet. So I guess, yeah, technically, that would make me half of an illegal alien. Like a really illegal alien. Like not supposed to be in the cosmos illegal. Like fuck your border type shit. We're fucking coming through your goddamn atmosphere illegal. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't want them here at all. At all. Which is why we have an atmosphere that they've been having us destroy for the past like few millennia. Because that's keeping them from coming down in force. And you're probably saying to yourself, that makes absolutely no fucking sense. Okay, well, I'm going to tell you the science behind our force field, which is the goddamn atmosphere. And then you'll understand it. Okay? Now think of our atmosphere as this huge net. You know how nets work, folks. Little holes, ringlets, interlaced between each other. Right now, you're looking at a net at first, and you're thinking, how is this net supposed to snag or snare or catch anything with any real magnitude? Well, it does this by allowing force to be dispersed along it, so that when something impacts one area, it spreads that along the entire network of netting. Right? Okay. Think of the atmosphere as sort of like the same thing. As long as you have all of those little rings connected, interwoven amongst each other, large things will impact it, but they won't go through. You understand what I'm saying? This is too much stuff. So it's like a sieve, sort of, right? Now imagine if you start poking holes or you actually remove these things. Well, you allow big, large ships to come through. Now I know what else you're saying, but it's not a physical thing. It's matter and magnetic waves and forces of nature and yada yada yada. Well, yes, jackasses, it is all that stuff. I know that. Well, how is that stopping something that's made out of metal? Meteorites fly through the atmosphere all the time. Blah. Yes, they do. They do fucking fly through, but they're tiny, so they slip through the fucking holes, jackass. God damn. Oh, well, what about an asteroid? That's big. Shouldn't that have the same thing? Blah, 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 blah. Well, no, it wouldn't function the same way because an asteroid is like a gigantic, humongous bullet being flung through space at thousands, if not millions of miles per hour. Therefore, it obliterates the net because it's so fucking hot, it burns the fibers. Therefore, you're letting it pass through, destroying what's on the other side of it. Think of it as Kevlar, folks. Our atmosphere is Kevlar vest, and our Kevlar vest is wet, soggy, and depleted of the fibers necessary to stop what is about to happen. I know what you're saying. Well, our ozone, our fucking atmosphere is still there. Yes, it is, for the most part. But there's a large enough hole in this window that they're coming through. And the mothership is going to emerge from behind the moon at that opportune moment when the sun is blocked out and no one will see anything but blackness there. They're going to slide into that blackness. They're going to start landing their ships in this shadowed area so that most people will be able to get on without incident. Now, they know, just like most humans know, there's going to be mayhem and absolute pandemonium. People are going to be fucking going insane trying to get away from the ships at first. Those of us who know why they're here are going to be making our way to the ships. It's going to be in this confusion of those running away and those running to, that the ones running away from the ships are going to realize, wait a minute, why are they running to the ships? And then a few of them are going to start grabbing people who are running to the ships and start asking questions. And those people who are running to the ships are not going to want to be asked any questions, because they're going to tell you one thing: hey, get the fuck off of me. I got shit to do. Which is live. And living means getting away from you and on this ship immediately, right? So I suggest people, if you see people running towards the ships, just run towards the ships with them. Now, like I told you, you're not going to get on the ships unless, of course, you have tickets. Now, what I'm going to tell you next, I suggest you don't try to use against me, because it's not going to work. I'm an ambassador. I have tickets, but I generally don't need them. So if you ask me for my tickets, I'd be willing to give them to you. You know, I have 4 of them. You can have 4 tickets. Well, actually, I have more than 4 tickets. I have enough tickets for me and my people, okay? Let's just put it that way. I don't know what the number is. They said whoever you want to bring, you can bring, because, you know, you're the guy that we chose to ambassador, and yada, 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 and you've done a wonderful job, and thank you so much, and here's your prize. So, yeah, I'm good, but you guys aren't, if you didn't already buy your tickets. And I can tell you where you can get them. They have Alien Ticketmaster on alienticketmaster.org.uni.verse. And then you're all good, right? You can buy your tickets there. They take PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, Bitcoin. They take all that shit. They take all of it, because it's really useless anyway. It doesn't really mean anything to them. They just want to kind of see that you think it's important, and you know, you can get your tickets and stuff. But if you don't, there's a window of time. You know what I'm saying, people? There's a window of time. Like, you have less than, what is it, 12 hours? 13 hours to, you know, finalize your ticket purchases and make sure. If you want to get the tickets from me, I will accept Cash App. That's it, though. No PayPal or Venmo or any of that other shit. Cash App only. And one ticket is, what's your life worth to you? What's your life worth to you? You know, what is your chance of survival worth? Like, how much is it worth? You know, I trade in other things. You know, cash doesn't necessarily have to be the currency of choice. No, I do not accept sexual favors. So you can write that one right off your whole little fucking list there, ladies. That's not going to work for you. If it's not money, it's got to be some other viable skill besides sex. That's not going to be very useful where we're going. We're going to be in, like, you know, zero gravity for quite some time. And, you know, they actually don't want us to reproduce. So, yeah. Sorry. But if you have other skills and things, you know, and you don't have Cash App and you want my tickets, well, give me a call. You know, we have about 13 hours left of life on this planet for those of you who are not leaving it. So, if anything, if you could throw a really awesome fucking party and invite me to it, and I love this party before I leave here, you can have a ticket for you. And, you know, that's it. Not anybody else at the party. And if you guys try to, like, murder me or some shit and steal my tickets, well, that's just gonna fuck things up for you, because I'm the alien ambassador. So if you fucking kill the alien ambassador, you're gonna fuck up this whole peace deal that is brokered, that I've worked very hard to get. Like, they weren't gonna save any of us, people. I want you to know that. I got them to save about 750,000 of us, and that's it. And I'm sorry. I did my best. You know, they were asking me, well, what's good are you human beings besides destroying planets? I said, I don't know. Because, you know, we've never been given a choice of doing anything else besides destroying planets. Like, maybe if you had programmed us to do, like, other stuff, like, you know, like the animals do, just, you know, eat and fuck and graze and live and eat other stuff and fuck some more and then, you know, do that. Like, but you gave us the power of, like, thinking beyond all that, like questioning existence and shit. Why you did that was dumb. That was dumb. Like, why would you do that? Like, if you just had to say, do this, You're the reason why our fuck. Well, yeah, that's right. We did create you for a purpose, and you served that purpose. And you know, we kind of like pets. We like you more than we should, and that's why we agreed to save some of you. But strict rules you'll have because you know we did create you to destroy things in every way. Like you're the most destructive thing we've ever created. Not only do we use you to create worlds, we use you to destroy them. Really? I mean, there's other human civilizations? Yeah, oh yeah, tons of them. Like, we've saved. This is kind of how, you know, we inhabit planets. You know, we save a few of you from all the past, you know, projects we've had. Never this many. Never this many. Usually just a few hundred. But, you know, you were kind of nice and we liked you. So, yeah, we decided to save 750,000 of you. Why you picked that number? I don't know why I picked that number. It just sounded like a cool number. 750,000, you know, 750K. I don't know. I would like to have 750K, but, you know, it's kind of useless now. You know, who cares? Anyway, back to where you're taking us. There's another planet, I guess you said, and this is how this. Yeah, you know, we kind of save a few of you from each planet that we've either terraformed or destroyed, and then we put you all together in a craft ship somewhere, and we let you live there. Although we don't know if we have a craft ship large enough to sit 750,000 people, so we'll probably have to put you on another planet. So chances are you'll end up doing the same exact thing on another planet that we had you do on this planet, and that's what your life is. Like, we just drop you off on planets and you terraform and destroy them. That's what you do. Are you fucking serious? Oh yeah, yeah, we're extremely serious. The actual native life here on this earth are ants and wasps. Really? They were the dominant species? Oh yeah, they were. They hate you guys. Why do you think they're always stinging and biting the shit out of you? For no fucking reason. I mean, you guys like named wasps like the most savage little insects out there, and you've never noticed that they sting you for no reason? Like, you think they're attracted to your soda? No, they don't give a fuck about your soda. They fucking hate you. They absolutely hate you. Hate you. They've been breeding themselves larger and larger with more potent stings, and you think that it's because they no, and they kill honeybees because they know honeybees help you. So you mean they just don't like us? No, no insect on planet Earth likes you. God damn, that was their planet. They used to be 10 times your size, and you started consuming all the fucking oxygen, which is what we needed you to do, and changed the way things were on the planet, which is what we made you do, and you did it, and you shrunk down our number one enemy, which was the insects. Holy shit. God damn, well, you know, that kind of makes life a little more interesting, actually, now that you said it that way. Instead of tricking us into doing it this way, why don't you just tell us, hey, we are here to destroy this planet, and we would have just destroyed the planet. Yeah, but it's more entertaining watching you guys think that your life means something than to just have you know that it doesn't. Yeah, it may be fun for you guys. It's not too much fun for us. I mean, you know. I mean, actually, you know, it really doesn't make a goddamn bit of difference when I think about it, you know. I lived my life working for all these things, and now you're telling me I can have all those things and I don't have to work for it if I just do the one thing that you want, which is whatever it is, which is probably destroying some shit. Well, yeah. You guys are stupid. What do you mean? We would have willingly destroyed shit. Look at what we do to ourselves. Hey, Biff, he's got a point. You know, we wasted millennia tricking them into destroying shit when we could have just told them to destroy shit. Well, hindsight's 2035. Yep, sure enough is. And like I said, folks, this is what's gonna be. You know, this is how life is. The aliens have entered. We're all slaves to the aliens. Every last one of us. White, black, purple, yellow, green, orange, red, Asian. All of us. Hispanic, Latino. Human. Slaves to the aliens. None of this will was free. None of it. But like I said, I'm going to better pastures where I will be knowingly destroying the worlds that I live on. They're gonna allow me to procreate when I get there. They found me a couple of really, really attractive hybrids. Oh my God, you should see them. On. Woo! Can't wait. Can't wait. You know, the females of this particular hybrid species, number one, smoking hot. Smoking hot. I mean, one of them, she has red, shiny skin. Shiny red, like patent leather. Shiny. Oh, God. Sexy as fuck. Got a body like you wouldn't believe. And, you know, these are the perks of being the alien ambassador. You get your pick of the finest hybrid women. I know you guys are probably saying, yeah, he's such a chauvinist piece of shit. This guy talking about his pick. Oh, yes, I said I get my pick. Damn it. You don't like it? Well, you don't have to be on the craft ship that I'm going to be on, the new world that I'm going to. In fact, some of you won't be. I'll tell you who definitely won't be. Neo-feminists. They don't like y'all at all. They do not like you guys at all. And it's not because of your beliefs and shit of like men being women and women being men. They don't like the whole toxic masculinity thing because they're extremely masculine. And it's very patriarchal, if you want to call it anything. I mean, some of these alien species don't even have, well, I guess if you want to call one or two of their sexes male and female, the males don't necessarily have male parts like our parts, but they are male, if that makes sense to you. Let's just put it this way. In their world, there are two genders, one and the other, and both of them are needed to make more of either, you know, and that's how they made us, and that's just how it is, you know. So you can continue to believe whatever it is in your head. Unfortunately, those of you who are believing that have been hybridized with a race of alien that could change sex. It didn't have a sex. It would choose its sex based on the necessity of reproduction. So therefore, it walks around asexual, I believe is the term for it. It has no sex. And so there need to be more. So like if a whole bunch of them get killed off and shit, like, oh, whatever, then they will choose according to the makeup of how many of them are left, which ones become female and male. It just like turns on. You know, they don't like actually, they don't consciously say, I'm gonna be a dude and you get to be a girl. You know, they don't pick that way. You know, their bodies pick and says, okay, you're a dude and you're a female. And then they know they do what they have to do. And then, now that same one that's a dude that day may be a female the next time it happens. But that's them. That's them. You know, that's the way their alien world works, not ours. You know, but like I said, some of you, unfortunately, have been hybridized with that species of alien, which is why you guys think that you can be men and women and women and men can get pregnant. Because in their world you can, but in ours you can't. Okay, so I'm sorry. I had to break that to you. But that's what that is. That's what that is. You should be happy now that you know where it comes from. It's not gender dysphoria. You're alien hybrids from a long extinct race of aliens. You know, the reason that they were given extinction status is because the other aliens found them to be quite difficult to work with. You know, one minute they're a dude, the next minute they're a chick, the next minute they're neither, or whatever they felt like they were that day. And aliens could not negotiate terms and treaties with them because, you know, they're very precise when it comes to the things. Like, they'll tell you only so many men and women can be, like, because they have these numbers crunched in their head, quantum mathematics that they've been working on for millennia, that they know things down to the percentage of numbers that I can't even fathom. Okay, so let's not get into that part of it because I'm not a mathematician. I'm just a dude sitting here in a chair telling you stories about things that are going to happen. Now, folks, tell you, the treaties that they try to enact with this race of weirdo aliens, as they call them, and not in a mean way. That's just what they were called. They were called the weirdo aliens. You know, they couldn't come to several agreements with them. Every time they were trying to colonize a world with these guys, like when they were into colonizing and not into like just destroying it or terraforming it over time, these fucking idiots would get down there and fuck everything up because you could never really gauge how much of what you would need when it came to them because they were always willy-nilly just changing whatever sex they were. Like, oh, you'd send them supplies for like 12 dudes and shit, and then they're complaining about it because they got supplies for 12 dudes and they don't have 12 dudes anymore because their 12 dudes now decided that they're monkeys or whatever the fuck other alien creatures that they could decide that they were going to be. And that's what they decided. And these people were like, you know what, these motherfuckers are really fucking a lot of progress up with all this. You can't talk to them this way. I can't call them this. I can't call them that. They're getting sensitive. We're supposed to call them whatever the fuck they're thinking in their heads. And we're not fucking psychic aliens, so we don't know what the fuck they're thinking. And the Greys aren't sharing that information with the rest of us. Because they know. Okay, they're fucking Greys. They read minds and shit. So, it was a process of fucking painful realization that they had to get rid of this race of aliens. And that's what they did. They found their home planet and they bombed it. They didn't even waste the time of sending down their human hybrid clone shits to like destroy it over time. They wanted these motherfuckers gone immediately. And then for good measure, they stopped by the vegan planet and just eradicated that too. Because they were like, you know what? Why? Why do we have a whole planet devoted to these fuckers? Destroy it immediately and harvest their meat. And that's what they did, And I'm just telling you, see, you guys think that vegans and some of these strange ass groups of people are just strange ass groups of people, but they're strange ass groups of people that are too strange to be people, if you understand what I'm saying. Therefore, you should understand their ties to alien influence is a lot greater than you think. A lot greater than you think. I mean, come on, vegans. You're saying save animals, but you're killing more of them than farmers do with your crops. But I digress. These are all things meant to destroy the real true humans. Who are the true humans? They went underground thousands of years ago, folks. Remember how they keep talking about the Neanderthal? The missing link? There's no missing link. There's no link at all. We are better than them. We evolved because we have alien DNA and they don't. They are of this earth. They are terrestrial. We are extraterrestrial. Because part of us is terrestrial and the rest of us is extraterrestrial. So we're extraterrestrial. Or, just like I said, fucking alien hybrids. Now, I found out what race of aliens I call. Wonderful race of aliens. Very caring, wonderful aliens that want to help people, but will destroy them quickly without any prejudice. They were the easiest ones to convince of allowing humans to live. And they're like, oh, because they're so... No, not because they're compassionate, because they know our potential for destruction. They were the one that employed us as weapons. So, what did you think? I was gonna get aliens to like take us in as like pets? Ha! You don't want to be an alien pet. You'd much rather be their weapon. They treat you nicer when you're their weapon. So that's what we are, and that's the ship I'm getting on tomorrow. Me and my family. And we're heading to a new world in a nebula known as Nebula NX13500-2XY-ZP. If you guys are ever like out flying about and shit and you want to like check me out and shit and see if you want to subscribe to my new YouTube channel out there, well, by all means, please do, because they have a much higher subscriber thing on their shit, which is, I think, it's not YouTube, it's what the fuck is it? I can't remember what the name of it is. When I remember the name of it, I'll tell you in the next story what it is, so you guys can subscribe there and follow us on that one if you like the interstellar stuff. And it'll be really cool to see you guys after, if you make it. In fact, I should have a contest on my channel, right? Called the Survival Giveaway, right? You know, what am I giving away? Your survival. I'm giving away your survival. You can survive if you like and subscribe within the next 10 minutes. Next 10 minutes. The first 12 subscribers are guaranteed survival after tomorrow. You will survive tomorrow if you subscribe. Now, maybe if I get like 1,000 subscribers within the next 24 hours, I will say, in fact, that's what I'll do, is subscribe now. Subscribe now and save your life. Subscribe and save your life. Subscribe and save your life. Like this video or you might not, survive. And if you don't like the video, I'm definitely not giving you a fucking ticket. Why would I give you a ticket if you don't like the video? I mean, it's simple as just going over to your mouse and just hitting this. Like, listen. I'm going to let you know how effortless it is. Watch. See how effortless that was? Effortless. I put my hand there, press the button, click. I like the video. Well, I didn't like it because, it's being streamed live right now. So I couldn't like it and, stream it at the same time. I'll like it later and then I'll have my ticket. And then you'll have tickets if you want tickets to live. Or, you can take your chances. I personally would suggest that, you come on over here, check out what I'm doing. Right now I'm looking for shit that I'm dropping on the fucking floor. But you should. As you can see, we're just chillaxing, Been playing a game called Planet Side 2, which is not really, it's a game, but it's not really a game. It's more of them seeing how we are going to function in our new atmospheres, new planets. And they want to know that we are capable of the wars they have planned for us. That's right, I didn't want to go there and do any of that slow roasting, slow cooking destruction. I told them, sign me up for interstellar, intergalactic war. And, nanites, which are these little tiny machines from Planet Side 2. Don't sue me, Planet Side, please. Don't sue me. I'm stealing some of your shit real quick for my story. Nanites is what they have. And if you've ever played Planet Side 2, you'll understand that nanites are like these little tiny robots, like nano robots. And they build and fix and do things, obviously, as nano robots would do. Anyway, so that's what I want to do. And that's what they're going to let me do. I've signed up to fight in any of their intergalactic wars. And basically, I've guaranteed myself immortality as long as I agree to fight in their wars. What of it, you say? What of it? You're going to spend the rest of your existence murdering? Yeah. Knowingly murdering. We're murdering now, and we're not knowingly doing it for an alien race, so why not know you're doing it for an alien race and be promised immortality to do so? You're probably saying to yourself, well, after all that time of, murdering and killing things, you're gonna, what? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna continue to do it until I do it no longer. Why would I ever tire of it? Because you'd be doing it forever, yeah. You ever see that movie with the guy, Mr. Manhattan, blue guy, and eventually he decided he was just gonna end Earth because he lives forever and he was tired of watching the Earth that was happening happen, so he wanted to see a new Earth happen. So, because, when you're immortal, time doesn't exist. Literally, it doesn't exist. Could you imagine if time didn't exist, people? Like, let's think about that for a second. I've gone on to another thing. Now, let's talk about the non-existence of time. And I know what you're thinking. What do you mean time doesn't exist? Well, does it truly exist? Or is it the measure of duration that gives you this perception that there is a such thing as time and that it can be controlled in some way? Now, I know what you're saying, right? Well, the Earth revolves and that's a day, and right? But is it a day? And does it actually end if we were to actually look at the amount of time used to measure the duration of a day, is it always 24 hours exactly? Or is it 24 hours in a few seconds? Or 24 hours in a few minutes? Or 25 hours in some cases? Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that, nature in itself can't be precise, because it is extremely precise. But humans are not. Therefore, it begs the reason. My question is, are we measuring time the way it's supposed to be measured? Right? Like, what if we made a day a week, and a week a month? Like, just the measurements of it and shit. Like, what would that change per se? Like, because I've always wondered, like, when you read the Bible, it says people lived for 980 years. And it's like, oh my God, people lived so long back then. No, I don't think it's that they lived long. I just think they measured time differently than us. So, like, maybe a day or maybe a year to them might have been a quarter of a year, right? You know what I'm saying? So, like, every 3 months could have been a year in their mind because something changed. Right? Like the seasons, if you lived in a place where seasons change, things change. So I think across ancient worlds where there wasn't communication between one group of people and another group of people, people had a different concept of time because you didn't have watches. Obviously, there was no calendar way back then. Like, how would you? Who would even? Why did anyone even come up with the calendar? Like, let's ask ourselves that question, or days for that fucking matter. Like, what would be the point? Like, why? Why do you need to know a day? When the sun cometh up upon the hill on the time past when night fell, we shall march into this village, and we will get there when the sun goes behind those rocks again at the end of the cycle of light. I guess maybe that's why they started calling things day. That would make sense because that's a lot to have to fucking say when you're trying to tell somebody you'll see them tomorrow. So I'm like, tomorrow. What's tomorrow? Well, it's the next thing after today. Well, what's today? Well, today is when the sun comes up and you're alive that day. Well, that time period, and the sun comes up and it stays up and then it goes back down. Between when it comes up and when it goes down, that's a day. Okay? And it's today because it's right now. Yesterday is the day that happened when the night stopped before today, yesterday. And tomorrow is when it gets dark and then that next sun coming up, and then I guess that's how that probably happened, right? The whole process of figuring out today and tomorrow and all that other good shit. I'll be right back, people. I lost something that I need. And I found it, so I will be right here in your face again. Anyway, right, that's the whole concept of time and shit, because I find this to be interesting. Because it brings up whether or not time travel is possible. And I say it is possible, right? How is it possible? I've time traveled myself several times, right? If we look at time as something that is movable, or like we have some control over it to some extent, which I guess in America we think we do because we have daylight savings time where you change the clock ahead an hour and behind an hour, so therefore that is traveling through time, right? Like technically, sort of, it's 12 o'clock and then 1 o'clock comes and then it's either 2 o'clock in the morning or it's 12 o'clock again. So yeah, you've traveled back or forward in time. So we do time travel all the time, but it's not what you think, right? It's boring and corny, and it didn't really do much of anything, but you did move further through time. Now, see, the thing is, if other people around you do not have the same concept of time that you have, then to you, you're the only one traveling through time, right? You're the only one who have traveled. No one else has traveled because they're saying you're an idiot, and just trying to clock ahead an hour or two does not put you further ahead. But what if, right? What if you could control time like that? Like, what if there was like this giant, big, huge machine in the center of the earth that one person or several people could control the timelines in their lives, and like this somehow didn't fuck it up for everybody else, right? So like that would be interesting because then everybody would be on their own individual timeline, and maybe you could buy like a group plan and have like a group of people in your, like those cell phone plans. The group plan, everybody uses the same data. Well, yeah, everybody could use the same timeline if you had like a group plan, so that you guys could travel through time together. So like you don't go ahead and then let's say your spouse decides she wants to go back and change some shit she said to you so that you're not pissed off at her, but you go ahead in the future because you want to just get this relationship over with because you're like, fuck this fuck bitch, fuck tired of shit. And then you go forward in time to get away. She goes back in time, and then you create like a fucking paradox there because she's going back to stop you from leaving, right? So now you've got those two people where she went, and you've got you without her. So you see where it gets all fucked up and confusing with the whole time travel shit because it doesn't make any fucking sense. It doesn't make sense. But it does make sense. Just not the way we wish it would make sense. No, there's no such thing as a time machine because how can you travel through something that doesn't exist? Right? Time is a control construct. What does that mean, Omen? Those words don't sound like they make sense being put together. Well, I'll explain it to you, okay? Calm the fuck down and listen. Shit. If people aren't told what to do during certain times because certain industries that were once open to people back when there wasn't all this organized government, you worked when the sun came up and you stopped when the sun went down. Why? Obviously because you can't fucking see. There was no electricity back then, so sun up to sundown. So people were putting in work. They were getting a lot of work done during the day, and at night they were putting in some other work. Which is why there were so many people. Population exploded at some point in time. And of course, it got destroyed, exploded, and destroyed, exploded, and destroyed, yada yada yada. And things were learned that people somehow realized that fuck having this wonderful life that we have of not worrying about time, not being slaves to time, but just doing things with the time that we have, right? Let's put numbers and shit on it. Let's lock it down so then we can control people and tell people what they have to do between these said hours. We can control where people go between these said hours. We can control what people can watch, what they can eat. We can tell them how to eat between these said hours. Now, I know what you're saying, right? Probably like, well, what does that have to do with anything? Like time is a construct for control. Well, let's think about it, right? If you were in a time period where time wasn't read on a clock or a watch, that maybe it was just a dial that told you, or maybe before even sundials, sun's in the middle of the sky, it's the hottest point. That means it's probably, since these people started watching the sun, it comes up from one side, goes way up top, and then it starts to come down the other side. So they probably started figuring out, okay, when the sun is directly overhead, that's halfway through when it's not going to be in the sky anymore. Now maybe these jackasses decided that they needed to put numbers on it, right? Obviously someone did, because they weren't happy with the fact that they couldn't control people the way they wanted to. Of course, you're saying, well, who would want to control people? Some guy, obviously, who wasn't a producer of things. Maybe he was a merchant. In fact, let's say he's a merchant. He doesn't get the goods. He doesn't go out and do anything but open up the shop, right? He opens up the shop, and he is the place where everyone comes to. Now, this dude is sitting here, right? And he realizes that these people are not all coming to him at the same time, which makes his job a little difficult, right? He's like, God damn it, I gotta sit here all fucking day, and I don't know when to tell my patrons to come down here because, well, these people just come whenever the fuck they feel like it, right? And I gotta deal with it because I want to make money. But my people are not feeling this shit. They're a little pissed off. They're like, hey, you said these people would be here today. or within the morrow, whatever the fuck they said back then when they didn't call things days. But you know, this guy made a fucking promise and he didn't keep it. So how do you alleviate that? How do you control the uncontrollable, which is time? You label it, of course, right? So he starts sitting there thinking. You know, he's probably sitting at his little stone hut, mad as fuck because these fuckers are taking what he thinks is too long. Which is, he's been up since the sun came up, and they're not here, and it's already the middle of the day because the sun's in the middle of the sky. And he's like, you know what? I'm gonna call this midday, right? It just pops in his head. Midday, mid-sun. Maybe it was mid-sun, mid-sun, and sun high in sky day time. Whatever. Let's just say we're gonna call it modern day terms. So we'll just pretend that way back then they came up with these modern day terms. Midday. It is midday, and they have not gotten here. These assholes are going to have to get here before midday because my people are here before midday. They're here about the quarter of the day. Well, whatever. He figures out, you know, angles in the sky. He builds some little contraption and shit. Now he's able to say at some interval he creates, right? Because there's no interval of time at this point. It's just sun up, sun down, right? Sun up, sun down. This guy has figured out the sun comes up from the mountain. So because he lives in the same area, right? Now remember, some people live in flatlands, so the sun's going to be up a little bit sooner than it is for this guy, but he lives in a mountainous area, so the sun's up a little bit later than that, right? So he creates his concept of time. Boom. It's a 6-hour day, right? Because he's not looking at every incremental part of the sky. He's looking at certain times of the day. And see, when he looks up, he marks his little thing. So like I said, his has 6 hours in a day. So he's got a 12-hour day, right? So now he's able to tell these fucking people, hey, I'm going to give you this device, right? And he makes a bunch of them. You hold it up to the sun, and when the light is through this hole, that's what time you need to be here. Because I don't want to sit here all fucking day. And these people looking at him like, what the fuck is this goddamn thing? And basically it's like the first watch or clock or whatever the fuck you want to call it, right? So he teaches them how to use it. He explains it to them, right? Boom. Shit starts working the way he wants it to. But did he change time? Or did he just change their perception of time, right? Now, I'm pretty sure during the day, when you can see the fucking sun in its relation to the sky and shit, it's much easier to gauge time. So here's my point. We're talking about back in the day. Topographical features are a lot harder to see at night, obviously, without light. And you can't light up a whole area with a fucking torch that's lit with a flame. It's not a flashlight, doesn't have the lumens necessary. Now the moon, bright as it is, there's nothing else against the sky to compare it to, so therefore you're not really going to have an angle, I guess, as good as you would during the day. So time telling at night had to be much different than time telling during the day, right? So maybe they didn't tell time at night. You know, they figured it's night, we don't care about what happens at night. We're in home, we're not working, we're sleeping, eating, fucking, and entertaining ourselves with stories of how we invented time, whatever the stories are, right? So bam. When did the concept of telling time enter into the night part of time to where they were able to give us a 24-hour clock, right? You feel what I'm saying? Once again, who was the genius that invented time? Who was the one person that came up with a universal system of keeping track of time? And why would a person on this planet, ancient as they are, even want to think about coming up with a concept of time to control the entire planet when they hardly had any control over their fucking little corner of the world they were in? But they're thinking how we can tell time. The Romans apparently came up with the calendar, which is interesting when you think about it. Why the Romans? Why not other great civilizations who we know are great and created and invented things that they still can't figure out how they work now, or how they were able to create them then with the technology they had then, which these batteries and things and electrical devices still work. And our stuff breaks down. 1,000-year-old batteries still able to hold a fucking charge. And our batteries die in a year if we're dead within a month. But you get what I'm saying, though, right? So, I know you guys are probably like, this story is not a story. It's not a story anymore, but when are my stories ever just stories? There's always a bunch of stuff. I've got you for another 15 minutes or so. I figure maybe you find this to be as interesting as I do, or maybe you don't. But if you do, then let's continue down the rabbit hole of time. Now, once again, like I said, wouldn't it have made more sense if, you, of course, let's fast forward, civilization, the fucking Romans and shit, and now there's a new calendar. Like, why would you want everybody to be on the same page if you're warring with most of these people, right? I mean, unless, of course, you told them, hey, here's a calendar. All right, let's all use this calendar that I came up with because we're the greatest civilization out there. And I can understand this thing being instituted in the parts of the world that were affected or controlled by said empire, but empires collapse. So why is it that this particular part of this empire has lasted until now? A failed empire at that. We've all talked about how the Romans failed, the Greek failed, failed civilizations, yada, 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 yada. But yet, no, we're still running with their failed shit, right? Like, we're running with their failed government system. We're running with their failed Senate, their failed Congress, their failed democracy, their failed calendar, their failed sense and measurement of time. So is it truly theirs? Or, what I like to believe most times is that it's not something that was instituted by humans. It was given to us by those who understand that time is inevitable. It's happening all the time. It's always going to happen. It never stops. You stop. It does not. When you think of it that way, then you can understand how an immortal person would perceive time as not existing, as everything just being a flash. Because when you live forever, there truly is no time. Time is as easy as describing as this. There is a beginning, there is a duration, and there is an end. Right? That's the way time works. Something starts and then it finishes. Your life starts and it finishes. See, humans, to control other humans, have put all these little minutes, seconds, hours, so that they can tell you that you do not have enough time! Which, like I told you folks, you don't, because tomorrow when the aliens get here, you're either on those ships or you're not. So I suggest that you do whatever is necessary to make sure you're on your ship. Hey, like I said, you can get in contact with me at Chaos Order NOWC and email me if you need tickets to get on the ships. If not, I will not see you later than tomorrow afternoon. And that's between 2 o'clock and I believe 8 o'clock that this will be happening. So if I don't see you after, then I won't see you after. Thank you guys for joining me if you did, and if you don't and you watch it later, thank you very much. Like the video if you do like it. If you don't like it, well, don't dislike it, just don't like it, you know what I'm saying? And, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. It could save your life because, like I said, I've got those tickets that you might need. And you should probably hit that bell notification thing, so just in case I decide to just give the tickets away and I'm going to, do a live stream about it, you'll be notified. And I'll make it save yourself live stream. And, that way you know that it's that live stream, so you don't tune into it and I'm just, talking shit to you and shit. I'm actually going to give you, tickets to save yourself. And then don't pay attention to what's happening unless you're paying attention to what's happening.